Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, whatever time you're watching. Welcome back. Three Ball Walk. It's been a few weeks.
Hopefully they
Bob?
are watching. That'd be nice.
Well, they are.
Okay.
You'd be amazed how many people have said, when's the next episode coming out? Bob, Eddie, Julio, back. Three Ball Walk, more baseball. No games to talk about,
Nope, that ended.
but a lot of different transactions, a lot of awards given out, things we haven't discussed. We haven't gotten together in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's since the end of the season, since
Since the World Series.
And I want you to speak it out, okay? Chris Bryant, National League MVP,
No problem.
no problem.
No problem.
Best choice there, yeah, no doubt.
Yep.
And Mike Trout.
Problem. Severe problem. I don't think the MVP should be a guy whose team wasn't relevant after May, and he watches the playoffs from the same place I did. Well, he wasn't at my house, but the couch.
Well, you were at my house.
And I was at your house, and I think
He could have been at your house.
Well, he could have been at my house. I wouldn't know.
wasn't at my house,
And Amy,
no.
Amy wouldn't tell me if he was there, so it'd be all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that either.
But Mookie Betts has a career type year, and he doesn't even get 10 first place votes. I mean, look, we can do a 3-hour program on the baseball writers and their lunacy.
And what team did Mookie Betts play for?
Boston Red Sox.
And where were they?
They went to the playoffs.
But where were they during the World Series?
They were at home too, but they
you
went to the
vote. You
playoffs.
vote on the last day of the season. That's when it's due.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter.
Postseason has no bearing.
But my point is,
But if you made the postseason,
they were there, right?
it has a bearing.
Right.
Well, if you vote before the postseason, then what difference does it make?
Because you were part of a team that made it to the postseason, or you weren't a team.
Right, but it's still your most valuable player on your team, or the most valuable player on the team
That's
that wins
what there
the
is no
series.
definition. Same as Cy Young. Relievers, does a pitcher get it? Does a pitcher not get it?
The pitcher always gets the Cy Young
Always
award.
get. I think
I've
that's
never
how it
seen
works.
a non-pitcher
I'm not
get the Cy Young award.
Right. Never. I don't think that.
Right? I mean,
No.
You're right.
okay.
Cy Young didn't.
I,
get the Cy
I
Young
was
award.
talking MVP and whether pitchers are
Yeah.
eligible for that.
Oh, okay. Well, you
Right,
made
right,
that jump
pitchers.
where you said
Right.
Cy Young, and then you
You're
made the
right.
jump. I didn't.
That
catch
pitchers
that.
have their own award, so they can't possibly be a valuable player.
Right.
I like
agree
Mike
with
Trout. I think he's a great ball player. But voting for Mike Trout is like being in the 50s and is picking Mickey Mantle. And he only won it 3 times. But I mean, he's the
Andre
easy
Dawson,
pick. Andre Dawson, I know what you're
last
saying.
place.
Right. Right. I have a hard time.
And
with that.
America watched them every single day.
But did
Every
Mike
day.
Trout have a better year than anybody else in baseball, the same way that Dawson had a better year than anybody in baseball when he won?
Some
Right.
say he did.
Obviously.
Did he lead the league in hitting?
No.
Did he lead the league in home runs?
I think he led the league in home runs. I think. I'm not sure.
Did he lead
I
the
haven't
league in
looked, sorry.
RBIs?
Not certain.
Well, but now those stats aren't the ones that matter according to those analysts. You can look at
Did
WAR
he,
and
did he
look
lead
at
the league in WAR?
replacement. He led the league in WAR, and he set some kind of record for wins above replacement, which
Which
is
just
WAR.
means if he ain't playing, they don't win.
They don't win anything at all.
Right.
That's how bad the team was.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that necessarily you're the best player in all of baseball just because your team sucks.
Are you the most valuable?
You're not the most valuable if your team sucks. I mean, clearly, if you're the most valuable, then you would be on another team because you'd be getting traded.
I'm not saying you have to play for a World
I'll tell you,
Series
I'll give you.
champion team.
I sit
just
there and I
think you
think
should play for
a lot of
playoff team.
times it's a publicity thing, and I still have no idea, none, how Big Papi wound up 5th.
How is that even possible?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
If
He
you're
led the
Thank
league
you.
in home runs and RBIs, I believe.
If you're gonna have anybody, why not him?
Right. Why is
It's
David
Swansea.
Ortiz in the top 2 or 3? That's
Ah.
ridiculous. Well, but the writers, I mean, we could go all about the Hall of Fame for 2 days about, they're. I
Well,
don't
did you
get
see?
it.
Did you? By the way, did you happen to see what came out yesterday? I want to say in the winter meetings with the Hall of Fame.
That we're going to see the votes from now on? Yes.
It is from now on. If you decide
Yeah,
you're not
2018.
voting for a guy, every vote is going to be made public. So if you turn in a blank ballot,
Start
which a lot of people
2018.
do, just to make it more, and then it's harder for people. You don't want a
Why?
certain person, and just so he doesn't get 75% of the vote, you turn in a blank ballot, which a lot of people do.
I think that ought to be discounted out of hand.
But it's
If
actually
you don't
it
vote
counts
for
as-
anybody, it should not count at all.
It's actually, well, from now on, they're still going to be allowed, but it will be made public that Eddie Gilly turned in a blank ballot.
I would never turn in a blank ballot. I would at
You
least
gotta
vote for somebody.
Amen.
Me.
Well, I wouldn't know if I'd vote for you. I don't think you meet the minimum standards.
I haven't been in baseball for 5 years.
You didn't play.
Okay.
You weren't a general
It's been
manager.
5 years or more since
You weren't
I
a general
last-
manager,
No.
so then I don't see how you're going to get in.
Bud Selig got voted in 2 days ago.
well, he's
That's a
the
joke.
commish, so
Self-appointed. self-appointed commissioner. He doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, nobody voted him out. They had all opportunities.
Yeah, that's I have a hard. No, that's
You're just bitter about the DH.
You're just bitter.
I'm not bitter. I just think Bud Selig. It's like you going, okay, all of a sudden I'm gonna be in charge of baseball.
How about home field advantage
He was
is
an owner.
determined by the best record?
That was
not
thank you
all-star
for
game.
that. Yes, thank you.
We have made the All-Star game irrelevant again.
It's been irrelevant. It should
thank
be
you.
irrelevant. It's an all-star game.
It's not irrelevant. The Cubs won this year because the Cubs played at home, or because the
No,
Cubs
they
played on
didn't.
the road.
They played on the road.
Right, they won this year because they played on the road. Remember we talked about that. They were able to use a player that couldn't do anything but DH.
Did they have a better record than the Indians?
Yes, they
Ooh, they would have had home field
would
advantage.
have had home field advantage. They would have lost. They would have lost the series because of that. If they had played at home. I mean, come on now.
That's exciting to me. I was very happy with
I
that.
was too.
I still like the rotating left and right. Okay. I mean, National American every other year.
Now that would be,
That's what they used to do.
that's what they used to do, and I'll be better for
the
that.
odd years it was the American League.
Because
and the even years
again,
it
we
was
go
the
back to
National
the
League.
same thing that not every team plays the same schedule.
Exactly.
And so, your team may be playing in the National League. The National League's horrible, and you're in a division where you're head and shoulders above everybody else. You're just beating the crap out of everybody in your division.
Totally agree.
And you win by 50 games.
Not to throw another sport into it, but you play your Big Ten schedule against your East Division, and then you have to play 3 teams over in the West, and one of them winds up having to play Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Northwestern, who 2 were in the top 10 at the time, and you run the table, but you wind up losing to Penn State, while Penn State got to play Minnesota, someone in their mother, Maryland, and Purdue, which was nothing compared to and you wind up tying. But since you won the head-to-head, you get to go to the thing, and that's where the whole
They didn't tie. They beat Ohio State.
Okay, but it was an unbalanced schedule.
They
It winds
beat
up-
Ohio State.
But it was an unbalanced schedule.
Right, but they beat Ohio State
Okay.
head to head. So if you have that, you're going to do that. And let's say that the Braves, by miracle of miracles, wins the league again any time in our lifetime. And
Not gonna happen.
Well, let's just say they do, and the White Sox win, which we'll get to that in a minute. They're not going to either. But let's just say one of those 2 teams won, and they had played each other during the season, and the White Sox two out of 3 from the Braves, then they should host. That would be the same thing as your analogy because they beat Penn State. Penn State beat Ohio State.
So basically, last year, because the Marlins actually won the season series with the Nationals, the Marlins should have gotten to win the East Division last year.
No, I'm saying if the 2 teams tied for the record, if the records were the same and are 2 different divisions, if they came out and they
No,
played each other.
you can't use
You don't
baseball as
do
an
that.
example because you know what would happen?
No.
They would play a 1-game playoff.
Yeah, nobody's going to play it.
No.
I mean, nobody's going to matter.
But the whole point is I'm excited about that.
Yes.
And
I'm
let
glad
the
you
all-
are.
I am.
I'm not. I'm not. I just until there's some way of fairness about the record, I don't think that's fair to the teams that play.
So the All-Star game?
Well, is it more fair than any other way?
No, it's not.
And a 50-50 shot.
Flip a coin.
Well, either way. Okay, then flip a coin. Okay, we're flipping the coin.
Okay, flip a coin.
50-50. It's your shot to win it. I mean, both teams that get in, the 2 teams in the final, flip one before the home team.
So you don't think that you should be benefited from having the best record in the game?
If you played the same teams, yes.
But it's
Change the subject back to the awards.
Back to the awards.
My guy,
Okay.
Fulmer, won the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
In the
congratulations.
American League.
Congratulations.
Remember you had
Congratulations.
Let me
no
hang in
problem.
with that,
I called
sir.
it, and I'm still disappointed that our boy he would have won Rookie of the Year.
Story would have won if he just plays.
Yeah, if he played.
Although
Corey Seager had a pretty good
Corey
year.
Seager had a ridiculous.
He was
year.
awesome.
One of the top 3 MVPs. But you know what? Story would have been there.
I think
He
so.
was our story.
Our boy Story would have been in there. We could have
Yep.
gone and covered it, and then we need to get Trevor. Trevor, if you ever see this, give us a call. Because
I'm sure. I've heard he watches it all the time ever
All the
since
time?
we jumped
Yeah.
on his bandwagon.
Yeah, well, we were there, so we were
He's-
there first. We
To
had
cover,
fun
to
somebody.
cover the story.
Yeah, we had the story before the story.
Yep, Corey Seager though won the Rookie of the Year.
He did.
Yeah,
He
and
did.
it was, and that was well. I mean,
Yeah.
they all were fine.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
did.
I still had, and believe it or not, and I know what's her face with the video game commercials, Kate Upton. I know she was all upset about
Her husband not getting the
her boyfriend.
Or boyfriend.
Who's her boyfriend?
Justin Verlander.
Justin Verlander.
Ah, wow, it's good to be Justin Verlander. That's all I can say.
Okay, so she was a little upset about Justin Verlander
Not
finishing second, and
what
I don't think he. If
He
the
was
if
third.
the Orioles he was
Hey, we're doing
second.
2
He was
shots
second.
today, by the way, or only one?
We're only doing 2 segments.
Okay, all right. They won't hold off. Keep going.
You got something else?
Yeah, but keep going. I'm good now.
Yeah. But I personally think that the Orioles reliever, who had who allowed 4 earned runs the whole time, should have at least been in the top 3.
In the top 3,
And,
yeah.
and I looked at it, and Verlander.
So what they
Verlander
said,
was the same story, no pun intended, with Verlander as Mike Trout.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
irrelevant team down the stretch.
And the statistics that they analyze and everything like that, Verlander had a better year. But in my opinion, you go 22-4.
Yeah.
Purcell
had a great
He had a
year.
great year.
Well, again, it goes back to what we talked about when we were talking about those awards. Clearly, a lot of the writers agree with my position that if you're a reliever, you're not winning Cy Young.
And in your position, if you're a reliever, you're not winning the MVP either because you have your own award. But
Sure.
then you just told me that your own award he's not eligible for it.
Well, then you need another award. I mean, come on, let's fund it. All we got to do is, provide some little trophy.
Three-ball walk.
Three-ball walk reliever.
Reliever award.
Reliever of the year.
Not the
award.
fireman of the
They don't have
year.
the fireman of
No.
the year. They still have that.
Yeah,
anymore?
they don't have that anymore.
I'm sure they do, but it's
You don't hear about it.
I mean, at Firehouse, if it's not Firehouse marketing
Firehouse
people,
subs,
jump on
yeah,
that.
jump
Firehouse
on that right
subs,
now,
yeah,
come on.
Firehouse fireman.
It was really someone good, like not before Gillette, or there was actually someone that
Yeah, I forget. I know who you're talking about.
who sponsored that.
I don't
It wasn't
know.
like Smokey Bear.
Chevrolet, maybe? I don't remember.
No, it was like someone that really had something to do with firemen.
We'll check it out. We'll see if we can find that
Sure.
information. We'll effort to find that in the middle.
So what else? The Cubs win the World Series.
Yes.
They got the MVP.
They did, and
And-
rightly so. And I think the Cubs should have won everything. They won
Cy
everything.
Young.
I
National
think
Cy-
Scherzer was a great
Scherzer
choice.
was a good pick. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to knock the year that he had.
Yeah.
So
2 Cubs is the number 2 and number 3.
Yep.
yeah,
So-
and I think that hurt them too. I mean,
Having 2 guys.
having two
split the
guys
vote.
split the vote
Yeah.
with a lot of people who would have voted for them.
Surprisingly, no Brave pitchers were in the running. Surprisingly,
Really?
But this year, but next year probably with Bartolo Colon, he may have a big year.
Well, he's
They-
gonna
Yeah,
have
he's gonna have a big year.
He's gonna have a
Yeah,
big
look
year.
at him. He's gonna have a big
He's gonna have a
year.
big year.
They signed Bartolo
$14 million.
Colon.
He's gonna have bigger years.
Who
than
else
one.
they got?
14 million.
14 million. R.A. Dickey.
He's
Dick, they're gonna have.
they got R.A. Dickey.
They're gonna have the knuckleballer and the meatballer.
They're doing good.
Now he's a Braves fan for a long time, and I said this to Julio earlier. This just smacks of 1970s Braves. Let's get a couple of guys from the down end who are bigger names, and maybe they'll draw a crowd. The Braves, I don't understand their plan. I like somebody explain it to me who knows more about baseball than I do.
Listen.
But I sit there and I see teams who are actually going out there, and we can talk more about deals in the next segment,
will.
making moves, and the Braves get Bartolo Colon. and R.A.
Signed him
Dickey.
to his biggest contract
Ever.
since 2007.
It's ridiculous. And they gave him 2
GM?
years.
He had a good year.
Who's the GM?
He hit a home run.
Who's the
He
GM?
hit a home
can't
run.
remember
Oldest
the- I don't
guy
care.
in Major League history to hit his first Major League home
Good
run.
for him. That was good.
That's awesome. That's great. He finally got to hit, right?
He's been
'Cause
hitting the
in
buffet too for
American
a long time.
League forever, so he didn't get to hit.
He's ready, and I think they're good. And then with R.A. Dickey, how old's he? 45, 50?
40, 45.
They're
He's a
looking at-
knuckleballer, though.
They're
so you
looking
know.
at Benito Santiago, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to bring him up. And then,
Yeah, you're gonna get you and me out of retirement. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to catch the knuckleballer
Braves,
because I can
yeah.
catch a knuckleballer just as
You're
well
old
as
enough.
anybody
You
else.
meet the right age limits and,
And,
everything like
well,
that.
you know, as any other catcher in
And
Major League
last thing,
Baseball.
and
Bob
I
Tillman
don't want to
back.
talk about it too long, and we're here to the last minute and everything like that. And since we are talking about signing older players, it was interesting. Bob and I had the pleasure during the break while you were gone.
Yeah.
We went and saw A-Rod
Yeah.
when he came
Yeah.
to speak here.
at UF. He was good.
Really good.
He was.
It was very interesting and everything like that. And a lot of Yankee fans, what do you recommend? You're working with the young guys. And he said, I just hope that they stick to their guns and they may not have a great year, but let the guys develop.
Right.
Let the guys develop. So what do they go and do?
Get Matt Halliday.
They sign Matt Holliday.
They're listening.
You know, which is going to take time away from those young guys developing. And that's like the Braves. You go and sign Matt Holliday as your big acquisition, who's 36 years old.
Yep.
I just
Great player.
and he is a great player, but
Let's talk about that when we start the next.
no,
segment.
and that
Okay,
was
we're out of
just
time.
one
Okay.
of the things. But it was
Yeah.
really good.
He was
We'll
great.
be back in as long as
Whenever you turn back in.
However long you
back.
turn, well, probably a
Turn
day
it
by the
right
time
now,
we get
come
it.
back.
I doubt it'll be that unless you don't watch it the first day we post one.
Okay.
Probably not.
All right, see you in a minute. Bye.
Right.